money can't buy you happiness. Even if you have a lot of money, it's not necessarily that you are happy. Now, if money can't buy you happiness, I don't know what else could. And you see, over the time, I have realized one thing. Those people who say that are usually poor. If you do realize that, put in a comment down below so that I can know whether or not it's just me realizing that or everyone else is noticing that as well. Now, I'm not rich, but damn, I'm sure I don't want to be poor. And I'm even firm with this statement after my trip to China. I will be sharing two of my experience with you when I was traveling in China for a month. First of all, I visited to Shanghai Disneyland together with my wife. Now, the standard ticket was about 300 Sing dollar. Now, we went on to purchase an express ticket because we thought that if, let's say, you really want to enjoy, and since you're already paying that money to go to Disneyland, might as well you spend a little bit more so that you can really enjoy it and you can really maximize all the games, right? The moment we step into the garden, or maybe not even the garden, it's just outside the garden where people are starting to queue over there to get into the garden itself. There's like a lot of people who are actually queuing to entering the garden by the time of about 8:30 a.m. in the morning. Now, bear in mind, the garden started to let people go in by 9 a.m. in the morning. So out of curiosity, I just went on to ask the person who is queuing in the first few slots. And I asked them like, since what time you guys are already here? And she told me she was here by 6:30 a.m. in the morning. And that basically means they have queued for 2 hours. Like 2 hours just to queue before entering the garden. And then I told my wife, oh, what a relief. Luckily, we purchased an express pass where we don't have to queue for that. So after that, we contacted a guy who is in charging for our entry. You know, like the way that is being privately escorted to the garden. And he was walking in front, guiding two of us. So we are entering the garden without any queue, without any hassle, and without basically any challenges. So we just walk straight into the garden and that's all done. Some of them are even quarreling over there like, hey, you know what? Why don't you come earlier? And why don't you come earlier? They're basically fighting because it's hot and, you know, just get frustrating. So of course, I'm not someone who is having a very good temper. And if I were to be in their position, I think that's even worse. So while they are queuing over there, we can enjoy our breakfast and everything feels so good. And now, here comes the main part. So we started visiting inside the Disneyland, like the garden itself, starting by 9 a.m. sharp, okay? And until we finished the fireworks at night, it was about 9:30 p.m. So we basically spent 12 hours inside the Disneyland and we are only managed to play about 9 or maybe 8 games. Okay, those games that is being recommended as a must play. And of course, 3 shows and, you know, get a good time for lunch and dinner. And it took us 12 hours. And on average, those must-play game, the queuing time is about 60 minutes, or some of them is even like 120 minutes. So it means in order to play one game, you have to queue for 2 hours. How many more games do you think you can play if you don't own an express pass? So that's really what I want to share about the experience I have by purchasing a Disneyland Express Pass. So for those who are watching this video, if let's say the budgets allow, and if you happen to be visiting any of the Disneyland, make sure you purchase a express pass. It's going to make huge difference. Okay, now I'm going to share with you the second experience that I have when I was traveling in China. China is a very huge country, right? Most of the time, we will take a high-speed train. So the high-speed train, they have got basically 3 classes. Second class, the most economic class, and then they have a first class, which is somehow a middle class. And they have the most luxury class, which is called as the business class. I know. It is slightly different compared to airline, right? And I got confused about this as well. So the first ticket that I purchased when I was trying to take a high-speed train is that I purchased for the most economic class, which is the second class. And of course, everything was kind of okay. You know, the seat was it's quite wide. It's not that narrow, but you know, there was a lot of people over there. Like, well, maybe it's just happened to be my experience. Within that container itself, that's quite noisy. Some people you know, talking here and there. They're making a lot of noise, and you know, there's just walking here and there. Like, it was messy. The other trip to another state, so I was thinking, I have experienced a second class. What if I could So just get a feeling like how it is like to travel in the first class. So I went on to purchase the ticket. The seat was definitely much more wider. And one thing I realized is that when I was in the economy class, which is the second class, most of the people inside it is either they are sleeping or they're just playing, the mobile phone, the mobile games, or they're just watching some kind of social media. But what makes the difference when I was traveling in the first class is that most of the people are either, they're still talking, but they're talking on the phone about business, they're talking about the meeting and what's going to be the plan and all these things. So that really is what I have experienced, and I think it's a very much different experience when you are in a second class. Before I went back home to Singapore, I was thinking, since I've experienced, the second class, the first class, you know what, I'm going to experience the business class, which is the most luxury class in the high-speed train. So me and my wife, we went on to purchase the ticket, and of course, first of all, it's only one container. Okay, it's a one container within a high-speed train itself. There are like, I don't know, like 30 or maybe 40 containers for the economy class, and then they have about 10 containers for first class, and they have got only one container for business class. And inside the business class itself, there's only about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. I think it's only about 12 seats. Okay, and we managed to secure 2 of them. So the moment we step in, we realize, like it's a totally different feeling, because first of all, the seat, it's huge. I mean, it's so wide that you can literally adjust your seat, like going down and going up, left, right, you can rotate it. Okay, you can basically rotate it, and everything is so comfortable. And they even serve you with like those biscuits, okay, cookies, and they also serve you some kind of water throughout the journey. So that is already what's making the difference. And of course, I also noticed some difference is that those people who are sitting in this container itself, they are not really making a lot of phone calls and not really playing games. They are not really watching some kind of social media, but most of them are reading. They are reading newspaper, they are reading some kind of books and so on. So that is really what makes the difference, that they can afford, they can enjoy this kind of lifestyle. So when we really experience that, I'm even more firm with my idea that even though I might not be very rich, but I'm sure as hell that I don't want to be poor. Because some people, when they ask me, why the fuck do you want to make that kind of money? Like, why do you want to make so much money? What is that for? And my answer is being the same, and is staying consistent throughout the years. The only reason that I want to make a lot of money is because I want to enjoy my life in a different way. I believe that's really what's the reason that I'm trying to make as much as money when I'm young. Money might or might not buy you happiness, but one thing I'm very sure is that money can get you something different, where it allows you to experience your life in a different way. So that's what I thought. So if you agree with me, or if you have different perspective looking at these subjective topics, put in a comment and let me know. And until then, let's make more money.